Hey everyone, Zenzo with Aquarium Co-op, and today I am down here in the fish room because I am going to be doing an upgrade to one of my aquariums where I'm doing a filter upgrade. Specifically, I'm going to be adding a hang-on back filter into an aquarium that is currently filtered with sponge filters. Now, as you can see, if you can see around the fish room, I do like sponge filters. I've got a sponge filter in pretty much every aquarium here in this fish room, but there are times when you want to have a hang-on back filter. For me specifically, I like the mechanical filtration that hang-on back filters offer. So I am going to be installing a hang-on back filter. I thought it'd be a great time to talk about the filter I'm going to be installing, and also some Aquarium Co-op products that are going to really hot rod this filter and make it perfect in my application. Now, the filter that I'm going to be installing today is a very popular hang-on back filter. It's a Tidal 55 by Seachem. I actually have a Tidal 35 and a 75 in storage, but I'm installing this Tidal 55 for a couple of reasons. One reason is the pump assembly on the Tidal stays in the aquarium, meaning that if there's a power outage or something happens and the power goes out, the pump is in the aquarium in the water, so when the power goes back on, it should restart and prime itself, where a lot of other hang-on back filters don't do that. They either have their motor on the back or they just don't self-prime, and I do like that about these filters. The other thing that I really like is Aquarium Co-op. We have made an optimizer for this filter, which is going to help me bypass a couple of problems on this filter and also add a sponge pre-filter. Now, with this filter, the problem that many people will find is it has this top portion right here where water will come into the filter through kind of the water level, and there's real no way to bypass this. So that means that when you plug this in and put it in your aquarium, water is going to be coming up from the bottom. It's also going to be coming in from the top part where the water level is. In my particular case, I don't like that because of duckweed. Now, I do have a goldfish in this aquarium, which means that I feed that goldfish duckweed from time to time. It might be duckweed that I'm trying to get rid of in another aquarium, and I'll put it in there to help them, for the goldfish to kind of munch it. But also it's good for the goldfish to have that vegetation in its diet. So I feed some duckweed quite frequently to that goldfish, and I don't want the duckweed to get into the filter and get clogged and cause problems. So I am going to be bypassing this with the optimizer, adding a pre-filter, and then I'm also going to hot rod the inside. I'm not using the bio rings because I want to go for mechanical filtration. So I'm going to be adding a coarse sponge pad and some fine filter floss to just aid in that mechanical filtration. So let me go ahead and show you how to basically install the optimizer. It's pretty easy, but I figured since I'm making this video, we'll go ahead and show you how it's done. So if you already have your Tidal 55, again, this also works for 35 and the larger 75 110. If you have a Tidal in the aquarium already, it probably looks similar to this. You're just going to remove it from the aquarium, obviously, get the water out, and you're going to take off this downspout, which we're not going to need anymore. We're also going to take off this little basket. So this basket's just kind of a press fit, and just kind of pop that off right there. And actually, if you look inside, you can see, let's see if it focuses on, there we go. You can see that this hole is not all the way open. It's permanently like 2/3 open, and there's no way to make it open any further unless you took like a little Dremel tool or something and cut out this plastic. So it's already reducing the water flow. And as I shared before, I don't want water skimming in through the top. Now, previously I had already taken the motor off, but I just put it back on to show you how this comes off, or the pump assembly, how it comes off of the hang-on back filter. So all I'm going to do is take this and slide it in this direction, and it just slides right out. There's kind of like a little horseshoe shaped thing there, and that's how it slides onto the hang-on back filter. So I'm going to take this off, and then all I'm going to do is pop this right off, and I'm going to set that aside because I don't need it anymore. So now, very simple, I'm going to take my Tidal optimizer for the 35 or 55, so make sure you get that one, and I'm going to line it up with the pump assembly. So all I'm going to do is go right here, just get some stuff out of the way here. So I'm going to take the pump and I'm going to take the optimizer, and I'm going to just snap them together like so. Nice pressed fit. Make sure that the O-ring is fully seated. So now the optimizer is perfect, perfectly mated with this pump assembly. And there you can see that we have 3D printed the same little U-shaped groove that's going to slide into this channel on the hang-on back filter. So now I've got my hang-on back filter. I'm going to slide this right back in. And just like that, I now have the tidal optimizer attached to the filter, and I no longer will have any water coming in from the top here, because this is the only way for the water to go in, because the entrance to the hang-on back filter is this opening right there. Now with the tidal optimizer, you can see that it comes out at an angle. And the reason why it comes out at an angle like this is so that it stays off of the back glass of the aquarium, and you can attach a sponge pre-filter on there. So this is another way to optimize the optimizer or your hang-on back filter, is to add a sponge pre-filter on there. So this is going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to aid in some mechanical filtration just because there's more media there for beneficial bacteria to live. But also it's going to keep little things from going into the filter, whether that's uneaten food or snails or baby fish or shrimp if you have those in your aquarium. This is a way to bypass that so that it makes your hang-on back filter safe for pretty much everything in the aquarium. So just like that, it's ready to go. I did say that I'm going to do a little bit of hot riding by adding some sponge stuff, so I'm going to grab some scissors, cut some sponge pads, and fit them in the hang-on back. Now there are a few ways in which you can cut the foam to fit in your hang-on back filter. You can just cut like squares or rectangles and stuff it in there. You could also have it to where you're putting coarse foam on one side and the finer foam on the other side. But I'm actually going to use the existing foam in this hang-on back filter as a template, and I'm going to cut this foam to fit the same size, and I'm going to use the coarse foam first. So the bottom of the hang-on back filter is going to have this coarse, then we'll have the supplied foam that it comes with, and then I'm going to do the fine stuff on top. And depending on how much space I have, I might do a couple layers of this just so it's super optimized. All right, so I cut some foam. I ended up making 2 of these coarse ones and 1 of the finer one. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 of these coarse pads in the hang-on back filter, and you can see there how I cut them to fit. So those are on the bottom. Then I'll take this one that came with the filter, put that on the middle, and then I'll take this fine one, which is my polishing, and I'm going to put this right on top. And in fact, I'm going to put 1 more piece of polishing in there because I see a little bit of space for me to further optimize it and get a little bit more polishing. So I'm just going to cut a little bit more and put it in there. Okay, so I've got the foam in there. I've got the coarse foam, the fine filter pad. We've got the pre-filter sponge on there. So we're ready to go. All I need to do now is go ahead and put it in the aquarium and plug it in, and let's see how it works. All right, so I have the filter ready to go. One thing that I did off camera is I routed the power cord from the pump around the channel. So there's like a little groove channel here, and I just kind of routed it through there so that it is tucked away when I hang this in the aquarium. I'm actually going to put this on the back of this 40 breeder right here. It looks like a mess, but we're going to hide that with this this background, this back background. But I'm going to go ahead and put this in the aquarium and turn it on. Also off camera, I added this little adjustable screw that basically makes sure that the hang-on back stays level when it's on the back of the aquarium. And yours probably has that as well. Always make sure to keep the business end of the power cord out of the water. I went ahead and plugged it in. You can kind of hear the water gurgling. A lot of times you're going to want to pour a little bit of water into a hang-on back filter, but because of the pump being inside the water, we're all good to go here. So let me just adjust the pad. Just like that. So another great benefit of the filter is that it operates when the water level's low. So because this is an open top aquarium, I can still have some evaporation in here. Maybe I'm out of town for a couple of weeks on vacation or something. I don't have to worry about this not working when the water's low, as it still will operate with the water down below. It'll actually work all the way till the water is down below by the intake. So even if I were doing a partial water change, I could potentially still leave this on. So it's just another nice benefit. So I've gone ahead and put some duckweed in here to kind of show how the filter works now that we have the intake bypassed. So here you can see on top, let me try to zoom in there and fix the light. Okay, so right there, normally all of that duckweed, or if it's not duckweed, imagine it's like floating fish food, like our floating pellets or some flake food or something. All of that's going to get sucked into there, as well as, you know, little tiny baby fish or something. And now it's just bypassing that because it can't get sucked in, because all of the water is now going through the intake down there, which you probably can't see. So anyway, that's how that works. The other thing I did want to point out is if you have this filter, the dial will change the flow. So right now I have the flow turned down low, and you can see that the water's not coming out as vigorously. If I turn this up, I've increased the flow, and you can see how much more the water is moving. And you can really tell by the duckweed being blown around in this tank. If I go back, it takes a second, it kind of slows down, and now you can see the duckweed is not moving as fast. So everything still functions like the way that it was. It's just that you're not going to have the opening right here sucking anything in. So yeah. And just like that, we're done. It's really easy to set this up. It only takes a few minutes to attach the optimizer and the sponge pre-filter to your Tidal, your Seachem Tidal hang-on back filter. And I'm really happy. So hopefully things will clear up a little bit for me when that fish is digging around. And I also like the added benefit of, you know, the mechanical filtration, obviously some additional biological filtration, but also I like that cascading water sound. Not everybody likes that, hear the water, but for me, especially when I'm working down here in this office, I like to hear that water running, so it's kind of soothing for me. I am still gonna run sponge filters in this aquarium. I always like to have air in all of my aquariums, so I'm still going to run a sponge or two in that aquarium, and the hang-on back is just kind of an additional booster for the filtration. So anyway, thanks a lot. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out another one of our videos, and I'll see you in the next one.